The following program may contain coarse language, sexual content, violence, and mature themes, so if you're under 18, back away from the television. Not for you, buddy. Viewer discretion is advised.
Chapter 1. Prologue. Minato Namikaze stood atop the giant toad boss Gamabuntat. They stood against the Kyuubi, the nine-tailed fox. Desperate to save his village, Minato had no choice but to use a forbidden technique. He looked down at a small bundle at his feet and smiled sadly. "Looks like I won't be able to see you grow up, my son," Minato sadly thought. He went through hand signs and yelled, "Forbidden secret art, Death Reaper seal." The Shinigami appeared and energy started to drain from the Kyuubi. The fox could feel it, but he couldn't stop it. Within a few minutes the fox was sucked into the bundle and Minato fell to the ground. As he fell, the bundle started to cry. Shinigami picked up Minato and took him away into the portal it came through. Meanwhile, inside the boy, the fox was seething inside a cage. "If they think that this pathetic vessel can hold me," Kyuubi roared, "they have another thing coming." Kyuubi started to send out some of its chakra to corrupt the baby's mind and take control of its simplistic mind. It was at that moment that a white glow flashed in front of him. There was a sudden rush of white chakra that stopped his red chakra from flowing. Outlined by the light was a female figure. "Who's there?" Kyuubi asked, wanting. "Someone you never should have tried to cross," said a strong feminine voice. Kyuubi's eyes shrank in fear as he had heard that voice before centuries ago. Before he could react, he was wrapped up in gold chains. And roaring in rage, the figure in front of him smiled, sent the white chakra through the baby's body. And then she vanished. Meanwhile, Shinigami held Minato in his hand. Minato had an eyebrow raised. "Why haven't you consumed my soul yet?" he asked the death god. "Though pure souls are a treat," the god said, "your soul doesn't belong to me. It belongs to my sister." "Kami?" Minato asked with wide eyes. "Yes," the death god said, "come now, Minato, my sister and your wife is waiting." At that, Minato grinned. He was about to be reunited with his wife and his son would live the happy life of a hero. Boy, was he wrong on that note. End prologue. Chapter 1, Saved by the Gods. A 6-year-old Naruto was playing in the park. He was alone as usual and was starting to leave when he heard someone. "Hey!" he heard someone say. He turned around and saw something that made his blood turn to a boil. He saw 3 guys were ganging up on one girl. Naruto scowled as he saw this. If there was one thing that he couldn't stand, it was bullies. He may not have been raised by parents, but he knew it was wrong to hurt someone for no reason. Well, the first one said as Naruto approached, "What do we have here? A whisker-faced freak and his little runt of a girl." The girl whimpered and Naruto narrowed his eyes. "Leave her alone," Naruto growled. "Why don't you make me?" the boy asked. He started to laugh when he felt something hard smash him in the face and send him sprawling across the playground. The other 2 looked shocked and noticed that the kid's normally blue eyes were now red with slit pupils. They panicked and ran away, leaving Naruto alone with the girl. "Are you okay?" Naruto asked the girl who had opened her eyes. Naruto finally got a good look at her. She had pale skin and platinum blonde hair. Her eyes were blue and had no pupils. He thought she was blind until he saw her looking at him. "I'm fine," she said as she got up. Then she realized what had happened and she hugged her hero around the neck and kissed his cheek repeatedly. "Thank you, thank you, thank you," she said over and over again between kissing his cheek. She stopped and held him tight. She then realized what she was doing and let go, obviously embarrassed. "Sorry," she said, "I'm Ino. Ino Yamanaka." "Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto said, holding out his hand, which she shook. Ino took a step back to look at him. He had blue eyes and spiky blonde hair and whisker marks on his cheeks. She had to admit he was king of cute, and Naruto was thinking the same thing about her. She reached out and touched them, which made Naruto giggle. "Sorry," he said, "the marks on my cheeks are really sensitive, and if you touch them right it tickles." Ino smiled as she started stroking the marks more to make him laugh. She had to admit it was a nice laugh. Naruto thought some turnabout was in order and tickled her side, making her giggle herself. They continued until the sound of a clearing throat interrupted them. They turned to see a tall, blonde man with a smirk on his face. "Well, don't you two look like you're having fun," he said, getting them both to blush. "Come on, Ino," he said, "it's time to go home." "Ah," she whined, "can't I stay a little longer?" "Sorry," he said, "but it's getting late and you know how your mother is if we aren't in time for dinner." "Okay," she said, "see you tomorrow." She asked Naruto this, who grinned. "Okay," he said as he leaned in and kissed her cheek. Ino blushed and her father chuckled. The two left and Naruto headed for home, unaware that someone else had watched their little show. In heaven, a tall black-haired woman stared at the earth below. Her name was Kami. She looked down as she watched the boy. Since his chakra now flowed through his veins, it in a sense made him her son, and like a good mother she watched over him. She was happy to see that some people in this village weren't complete idiots and that Naruto had found a possible girlfriend. Soon a pair of large doors opened and in popped a red-haired woman and the Shinigami. "Hey sis," the red-haired woman, who was Yami, said, "how's my unofficial nephew?" "Same as always," Kami said sadly, "but I believe he has found himself a potential lover." "Nice," Yami said, smiling. Yami and Shinigami watched as Naruto made his way home, but they noticed that a few villagers were gathering together and following him. They frowned when they saw them start chasing him. Shinigami's and Yami's faces contorted into rage when they started another beating. "That's it!" Yami yelled, "I can't stand watching this anymore. If I have to watch my nephew get beaten one more time, I swear I'm going to go nuts." "I can't believe I'm saying this," Shinigami said, "but I'm with Yami on this one. He may be human, but we can't let this continue. We should." He stopped when he saw his sister was quiet. "Sister?" he asked, getting a little nervous. Kami rose her head and shocked her brother and sister. She had a look of absolute rage on her face. They both knew that it was very hard to make her angry, and right now she looked downright pissed. "Brother, sister," Kami said, anger in her usually calm voice, "send in 3 of your soldiers. I have some old people from the village I want to send in. It's time I save our little friend." Kami and Yami grinned and went down to get their allies when Kami got up and walked through the doors and into the realm of heaven. She found who she was looking for. "What is it you want of us?" asked a female voice. "I want you to go down to earth and have a little word with the Hokage of Konoha. It's time they learned who they have been messing with," the Lady of the Angels said. "Yes, Kami-sama," said 5 voices in unison. Back on Earth, Naruto was barely hanging on to his life. A woman stood above him and held a kunai knife. "Time to die, demon!" she yelled, and the mob cheered. Just as she brought it down, though, a scythe was thrown through the air and cut the woman's hand off. She screamed in pain as she clutched the stump that was once her arm. Everyone looked to see where the scythe had been thrown, to see a large man in cloak and hood with 2 others who looked exactly like each other. They were reapers, and some of the crowd grinned. Finally, man yelled, "Shinigami has sent his agents to kill the demon." "Who said?" someone asked. They all turned to see a man entirely made of red energy holding a chain with a pendulum blade on the end of it. He had black armor on his legs, chest and shoulders and forearms, and thin black wings on his back. With him were people who looked just like him except one had a sword and the other an axe. Yami's warriors, a woman gasped, so the Shinigami and Yami have decided to destroy the demon for us. She was shocked when the dark angel swooped down and slammed his fist into the woman's head and sent her flying. Get out of our sight! The warrior roared, sending everyone away in a scared for their lives. The warriors put up their weapons and picked the young boy up. Meanwhile the Sarutobi was rubbing the sides of his head in annoyance. He was currently with the council and they were providing a massive headache for him. All these people did was complain. Nothing ever seemed to please them. The council was going on about something that he wasn't paying attention to when something slammed the door. The council went quiet and the sound continued until the door was thrown off its hinges. As it did, 5 armored figures walked in. They all had golden armor with black on the upper arms and legs, except they had little gold pieces on the outside of their thighs. They couldn't see their faces because they had on helmets that resembled that of Roman gladiators, only without that little fan thing they had on top. 3 of them were male and 2 were female. "What is the meaning of this?" a councilman asked. "I don't know who you are, but you will be." "Silence!" one of the men roared. His voice rang with authority and they could see his eyes. They told them that if they didn't listen they would be in serious pain. "We are here to take the Uzumaki boy," the second man said. "I knew it," a pink-haired councilwoman said. "I knew Kami would send her angels to kill the demon." "Silence, wench," growled the first female. "We are not here to kill him, we are taking him away from this disgrace of a village that has tried to kill him." At that moment the Reapers and Dark Warriors arrived. "We have him," the one with the axe said, holding out the boy. The first of the Golden Warriors reached out and touched Naruto's face and ran his hand down the side of his face gingerly. "Come, my friends," he said after removing his hand, "our work here is finished. You will go nowhere." A councilman yelled as he jumped up to strike the man with a knife he pulled out of his sleeve. Of course the council is usually made of complete and total morons, so you can tell that he really didn't think this through. Before he can even raise the knife, the Golden Warrior rose his fist and connected it with the side of the man's face and sent him flying across the room. Before someone could even say anything they all vanished in a flash. As they did, some of the ninja clan heads had one thought going through their heads. This can't be good. Later, Naruto woke up from his sleep and groaned. He looked around and saw that he was in some kind of palace. He got up but felt a hand on his chest. He followed the limb to see a man in gold armor. "Slowly, child," he said in a fatherly tone, "you don't want your wounds to open up, do you?" Naruto just stayed quiet since he had never been spoken to like that before. He just nodded and slowly got up. After he did, the man lead him outside where he saw 2 more armored men and 2 armored women. The group lead him to a large chamber in which he saw a beautiful raven-haired girl, hard-headed woman and a scary-looking man with white hair. "Hello Naruto," the raven-haired woman said. "Are you Kami?" Naruto asked the woman, who nodded. "Then they must be Yami and the Shinigami." "They are," Kami said. "Now do you know why you are here?" Naruto shook his head. "No. You are here because you have suffered at the hands of those in your village. We brought you here to train you because we have seen this and have grown tired of how you have been treated." Naruto hung his head as a few tears came to his eyes. "Why?" he asked them. "Why have I been condemned to live like this?" "Well," Kami answered, "do you know about Hikuabai attack?" Naruto nodded. "Well, the Kuabai wasn't destroyed. It was sealed in a newborn baby." "You?" Naruto closed his eyes and felt tears again. "Why did he do it? Why did he seal it into me of all people?" Naruto asked nobody. He felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see one of the armored men. "Naruto," he said, the yondaime didn't want to do it. It was the last thing he had to do. And he actually thought the village would see you as a hero. He overestimated them greatly on that note. He sounded rather disgusted when he said that. How do you know Naruto? Asked the man, wondering how he knew so much. Well, he chuckled, who would know better than the man who did it? He took off his helmet to reveal the smiling face of the yondaime. Naruto beamed as he saw the man and saw that he and the yondaime looked a lot alike. Daddy? Naruto asked. He may have been 6, but he was smart. The man nodded, and Naruto, tears of joy in his eyes, jumped up and hugged his father tightly around his neck. Minato hugged the boy back and smiled as he was united with his son at last. One of the women took off her helmet to reveal a red-haired woman with bright green eyes. Who are you? Naruto asked, wondering who this beautiful girl was. Naruto, Minato said, I'd like to introduce you to your mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto smiled and hugged his mother tight. He held on until Kami cleared her throat. As lovely as this is, she said, smiling happily, we have to start his training. Training? Naruto asked. Yeah, Yami said, me, Kami, and Shinigami, you mom, dad and those two over there are all going to train you for a very important mission. What's that? Naruto asked, wondering what the gods would want him to do. That will come at a later date, Shinigami said, now go get some sleep, we start training tomorrow. Yes. Naruto yelled. And then he went upstairs for some sleep. He is definitely your son, honey, Kushina said, wrapping her arms around her husband. I still say he gets the hyper attitude from you, Minato said as he pulled his wife into a kiss. 7 years later. This had to be the most boring job in the world. The job was guarding the Konoha gates. Izumo and Kahetsu were just standing around, just waiting for something to happen. Of course, at this day and age nothing interesting ever happens. Then something actually happened. There was a flash of white and someone stepped out. Out of the light walked a boy about 13 with spiky blonde hair. His eyes were a cerulean blue. He had on a white trench coat with blue, red, and black flames on it. The trench coat had the sleeves torn off so you could see that he had a little muscle. On the back there was a red swirl right above the word life written in kanji. He had on a black shirt, sleeveless shirt under it, and long loose jeans. He had bandages wrapped around his forearms and shins, and white fingerless gloves. He had black sandals and a weapons holster on a belt that had a fist-sized fox buckle. What really got their attention was something on his face. There were 3 whisker marks on each cheek. They instantly knew it was Naruto. Welcome back, little buddy, Kahetsu said, smiling at the kid. Good to see you guys too, Naruto said as he entered the village. Things just got a lot more interesting around here, Izumo said, grinning. Kahetsu just nodded. Chapter 2: Return and Academy. Naruto walked through the village until he arrived at the Hokage Tower. He walked and made his way to the office when the secretary stopped him. The Hokage is in a meeting, she said, come back later. Naruto knew she was lying through her teeth. It was about noon and it was Monday, so Naruto knew that the old man wasn't in a meeting. He was probably just taking his lunch break. Then Naruto did the last thing she expected him to do. He brought his arm up and brought his fist down on the back of her neck. She was immediately knocked unconscious. Naruto walked past the downed woman and opened the door to the Hokage's office. When Naruto opened the door, he saw a quick flash of orange before the old man looked up. He looked in shock at Naruto. Naruto, the old fire shadow asked. You bet, old man, Naruto said, grinning. He was then pulled into an awkward and strong hug by the old man. So what happened when you were taken? The old man asked. Well, Naruto said, I got training by my mom, dad, Kami, Yami, Shinigami, and 2 others who I am not going to reveal at the moment. Sarutobi's sweat dropped at that. Naruto had gotten training from his parents and tree gods. Oh, this boy is not one to be trifled with. Well, Naruto, Sarutobi said as he reached into his desk and pulled out a note, this will get you into the academy for the final exam. He handed Naruto the note and Naruto turned to leave when he remembered something. Hey old man, Naruto called back, I forgot to tell you some familiar faces will be coming back. The old man sat at his desk in thought as he heard this. He was wondering what Naruto meant when he said this, but he decided to dismiss it as he went back to his nightmare. The bane of the job of being Hokage, paperwork. Naruto walked his way to the academy and made his way through the door. Naruto remembered that before he was taken he was to go here. He knew that if he hadn't been taken he would have. Of course he also knew that he would have been failed by teachers who were bribed by the council so that they could stop his growth as a ninja. Naruto smirked. He'd show them. Naruto walked up the classroom he was assigned. He heard people laughing on the other side of the door. He groaned and had a feeling he knew what he was in for. Slowly he raised his hand and knocked on the door. Come in, said a voice on the other side. Almost as soon as Naruto walked in, the chatter and conversation stopped. The students were looking at the new student with interest. The girls a lot more than the guys. Naruto looked and saw 2 people at the front of the room. The first was a tan guy with a scar on his nose, the other was a white-haired man. Both of them wore Chuyuni vests. He looked at the students to see a few girls staring at him with hearts in their eyes. He had a feeling something like this would happen. Can I help you? The scarred Chuyunin and handed him the note from the Hokage. Well class, it looks like we have a new student, the scarred Chuyunin, Irika, said, getting reactions from certain classmates. What, how come we had to sit through this class and listen to your lectures? Asked a boy with marks on his cheeks and a puppy on his head. Naruto knew instantly that this guy was an Inuzuka. Yeah, said a pink-haired girl, obviously a Harano, it's not fair. He's been on a training trip with his family for the past few years, Irika said, remembering the note the Hokage had written. The class huffed as Naruto found his seat and sat down. All the while a platinum blonde with sky blue eyes eyed Naruto with wonder. Is it really you? Naruto Ino thought, hoping it was the boy. All right, Irika said, it's time for the first part of the final exam. The written portion. The class groaned. The 2 Chuyunin passed out the exam and everyone got started. Naruto flew through his because he had been taught by one of the best. After the tests were taken up and graded, Irika read the highest results. These are the highest results, he said before reading. Sakura Harano 100 out of 100, Naruto Uzumaki, our new student, 100 out of 100, Hinata Hyuga 99 out of 100, and Sasuke Uchiha 99 out of 100. As soon as she heard that name, Ino felt her heart flutter. It really was him. Hinata was thinking the same thing since she also had a huge crush on Naruto before he went missing. Irika-sensei, a Sasuke fangirl, called out, there's no way that new guy did better than Sasuke-kun. Yeah, he must have cheated. Sakura yelled, not screeched. The other fangirls probably would have continued if it not for the fact that a small amount of killing intent was leaked into the room. Everyone realized it was coming from Naruto, so they decided to shut up and sit back down. As soon as they sat down, the killing intent vanished. Maybe I should try doing that to quiet the class down, Irika thought, seeing how effective it was. Okay, Irika said, breaking the silence, time for the jutsu and target portion of the test. Everyone outside. Everyone went outside and got ready for the test. Some did good, some did great, and some did just plain horrible. Sasuke walked up and hit all the targets. He smirked at Naruto, who was up next. Naruto took out some Konao and Shuriken and threw them. They hit all the targets at the same time, which got him some bonus points. Sensei make him do it again, a fangirl said. He cheated. Yeah, another one spoke up, there's no way he did better than Sasuke. I thought I made this clear with the killing intent earlier, Naruto said. Then he shouted, shut your mouth, you useless fangirl. The girls immediately shut up at the sound of Naruto's enraged voice. Ino couldn't help but smile at how Naruto was able to take charge. She liked it. For the jutsu portion, most of the students did the academy jutsu except for a select few. The Inyazuka did his all-four style. Ino, who Naruto no recognized, did her mind transfer. Shuji, big-boned guy, did an expansion jutsu. Shikimaru, a guy with black pineapple hair, did his shadow possession jutsu. When Sasuke came up, he used a fire-type jutsu. Naruto had to admit he was slightly impressed. It took a lot of chakra to do that, and it was impressive a genin could. When Naruto came up, Sasuke smirked, thinking he had outdone the blonde. What jutsu will you be doing? Iruka asked. 1. Naruto said, not counting the academy jutsu. Naruto made 10 shadow clones, transformed into Iruka, and switched with a log. For his final jutsu he went through hand signs and yelled, wind style, galaxy storm. The jutsu formed a massive tornado in his hands and sent it flying. The result was at least 7 trees being knocked over and many more had huge gashes on them. Alright, now that that's over we can, Iruka said before he was cut off by a student. Iruka-sensei, isn't there another portion of the test? Iruka sighed. There was a taijutsu exam, but they ended that when a student crippled another student. Mizuki managed to convince him to do it because it would get some more kids to graduate. It wasn't that he didn't like kids, it was just that some of these people were intolerable. So he decided to do the taijutsu exam. The rules were fighting styles only. No weapons, no ninjutsu, no genjutsu. The matches were kind of short. Hinata won her match trying to impress Naruto. Ino went against Sakura and won. Naruto smiled at that. Kiba fought Shuji and lost when said boy sat on him for calling him fat. Naruto shook his head at his arrogance. Shikamaru went against Shino and forfeited. Naruto crossed his arms and shook his head in disappointment. He had to get that kid motivated or else he wouldn't make it in the ninja world. The final match was Naruto against Sasuke. You should give up now, loser, Sasuke said. He didn't get a response and yelled, are you listening to me? Sorry, Naruto said, you say something. Meanwhile, a silver-haired jounin with a mask and an orange book sneezed. Someone must be talking about me, he said before going back to his book. Back at the academy, Sasuke's fangirls were, of course, cheering him on. Go Sasuke-kun, kick that loser's butt. That freak's got nothing on you. You hear that? Sasuke asked as he charged at Naruto. You're going to lose. Naruto easily dodged Sasuke's punch and countered with a kick to Sasuke's solar plexus. Naruto shook his head in disappointment as he walked away from so-called Rookie of the Year. Sasuke got up and swung again, hitting air yet again. Stay still so I can hit you, Sasuke yelled as threw another punch. You are starting to annoy me, Naruto said as he caught Sasuke's fist. Fly away, little insect. Naruto drew back his arm and shot it forward. The result was a loud crack as his fist made contact with Sasuke's ribs and was sent flying into a tree. Naruto turned his back and started to leave but stopped when he heard Sasuke letting out a war cry. He jumped to the right to avoid a kunai being lodged into his neck. Iruka was about to say that Sasuke was disqualified for using a weapon when Naruto spun on his heel and made a solid kick to Sasuke's face. Unfortunately for Sasuke, Naruto put more force behind this kick than his punch. Sasuke was thrown into a wall, but instead of stopping he was sent right through it. Naruto expected to hear yelling from Sasuke's fangirls. When he didn't, he turned to see something surprising. A lot of the girls seemed to be in thought. Naruto guessed that since Sasuke was beaten they were starting to rethink the great Uchiha thing. Except for Sakura and a few others who were seething. Naruto was declared the winner, was handed a forehead protector and left. It was a good thing he did, because Sakura and the other girls who were still in love with Sasuke broke out of their stupor and started looking for him. Meanwhile, Naruto was looking for something that his mother had left him. He remembered what his mom had said. Flashback. Naruto, Kushina said as she and her son practiced sword fighting. "Yeah, Mom," Naruto responded. "When you go back I want you to find something," she said. "It's the Uzumaki wolf summoning contract. It should be in the old district in a worn-down warehouse." And flashback. Naruto found the warehouse and looked around for a little bit. After about an hour of searching he found an old scroll with the name Uzumaki on it. He opened it up and found his mother's name. He smiled as he bit his thumb and wrote his name in it. Then he focused He Chakra and yelled, "Summoning Jutsu." There was a large puff of smoke, and when it cleared it showed a medium-sized black wolf. "Who has summoned me?" it asked and looked at Naruto. "Was it you?" Naruto nodded and held out its hand. The wolf sniffed it and its yellow eyes widened in shock. "You are Kushina's son," it gasped. "It has been a long time since we have been summoned. I will tell Lunar of this development. From here on out the wolf clan shall be by your side." The wolf vanished in puff of smoke and Naruto left with a grin on his face and the scroll tucked safely away in his pocket. Naruto walked home ignoring the glares he got from the villagers. When he got to his apartment he found a note on the door with the Hokage seal on it and a storage seal. Naruto read it. "Dear Naruto, in light that you have received training from your father and that you know of your heritage, I have decided to give you your father's estate. In the seal below are the keys to your father's estates. The place is underground and you need Namikaze blood to bring it back up. Since you're your father's son, all you need to do is put a drop of blood in the center of Namikaze symbol and it should bring it up. From the Sandaime." Naruto grinned as he focused his chakra into the seal and some keys popped out. He gripped them in his hand and started walking. As he made his way he felt a series of presences behind him. He turned to see some of the girls from the academy with stars and hearts in their eyes. Fangirls, Naruto thought. Great. Dope. He heard someone yell in front of him. He looked and saw Saki standing in front of him. He had a few bandages on him and his left cheek was swollen. Naruto was surprised that he was able to still be around after being knocked through a wall. "What do you want, Sasuke?" Naruto asked. He was not in the mood for this. "Fight me," Sasuke commanded. He obviously wanted a rematch for his earlier humiliation. "No," Naruto answered, crossing his arms. "Why, think Sasuke will kick your butt like what should have happened at the academy," Sakura said, smiling like she thought it really was true. "He didn't ask for your opinion for it," said a new voice. They turned to see Ino coming out of her father's flower shop. She obviously looked mad at how Sasuke was acting and that her friend was still into him after he tried to kill another student earlier. "Ino?" Naruto asked as he saw her. "Hey Naruto," she said, smiling, "long time no see." Naruto smiled as she walked up and put her arms around his neck and kissed his cheek. Naruto's fangirls all growled as they saw her do that. They grew even angrier when they saw Naruto wrap his arm around her waist and kiss her on the cheek. "Don't ignore me, loser!" Sasuke yelled as he charged at Naruto, who responded by swinging out his arm and knocked Sasuke into a nearby store. Naruto chuckled slightly as he looked to see Sasuke unconscious on the floor. "So," he said to Ino, "shall we take our leave?" Ino smiled as she took Naruto's hand and she walked with him away from his current fangirls and some seething about Sasuke getting thrown around again. Sakura would have started screeching at them, but she didn't when Naruto and Ino vanished in a swirl of white fire. A few seconds later Ino and Naruto appeared in a swirl of white flames again. "Naruto, what was that?" Ino asked as she came out of the flames with a slight feeling of nausea. "A shushin of a different kind," Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. "Just warn me next time, okay?" she said as she punched Naruto's arm playfully. She saw that they were in the clan head complex. She also noticed they were in front of a vacant lot. She was surprised when Naruto walked in the center of the lot. She followed him to where he found the Namikaze symbol on the ground. She was surprised when Naruto bit his thumb and pressed his thumb into the center of the circle. As soon as he did, the ground started shaking beneath their feet. Naruto grabbed Ino and they jumped out of the way. As soon as they were clear, a huge mansion rose up out of the ground. The place was huge. It had a training area to the left and to the right was weapons forge. In the center was a mansion that looked like it could hold about 100 people. Naruto and Ino walked inside to see that the inside was completely intact after all the years it had been underground. Naruto even checked the fridge and all the food in there was still fresh. After exploring the place for a few minutes, the two decided to sit down and catch up. After Naruto left, Ino had started the academy. She started a rivalry with Sakura since they were old friends. Ino had developed a crush on Sasuke, but after a while his attitude and the fact that he wouldn't even acknowledge her broke her of that. She told him that when he arrived in class she had torsus jumping onto him. Naruto told her about his training. He left out that he was trained by powerful beings. He did say, however, that he did get to meet his mom and dad. Ino was happy about that. They two were silent after that and stared into each other's eyes. The two leaned in to kiss when an umbu appeared in a swirl of leaves, surprising them, making them jump back from each other with red faces. "Uzumaki-san," the umbu said, "the council has requested for your presence." With that said, the umbu vanished in another swirl of leaves. "Darn it," Naruto said, "and I thought I was finally going to get to kiss you." "You still can," Ino said, wrapping her arms around Naruto. "Sorry, but I don't want the council getting mad at me," Naruto said sheepishly, "maybe when I get back." He said the last part when he noticed the sad look on Ino's face. Naruto took a few steps back and vanished in a burst of white flames. Meanwhile, the councils were currently talking back and forth between each other when there was a burst of flame in from on them. When it cleared, it showed Naruto standing in front of them with his arms crossed. "You rang," he said, lowering his arms. Chapter 3, Council and Teams. "You rang?" Naruto asked, lowering his arms. "You will show respect to this council, boy," Kakeru said, glaring crossly at the boy. "You'll have my respect when you earn it, you rotting bag of bones," Naruto said, crossing his arms. The shinobi clan head stifled a few laughs while Koharu and Homura glared at him. "You insolent little," Homura started, but Naruto cut her off. "Is the reason you called me here important? Because this had better not be a waste of my time," Naruto said, "since I was in the middle of something important." "Yes," Sarutobi said, "the council has called you down here to evaluate your abilities as a ninja through physical and mental examination." Naruto groaned in his head. He knew that the council had this rigged so that Naruto wouldn't become a ninja. Fine, Naruto said, where do I start? There is a medical room down the hall, Shibuya said, your examiner will be waiting. Naruto nodded at the man and left the room. As he did, a few of the shinobi clan members could have sworn that they saw a young yandame. Naruto walked down the hall and found medical room. He walked in and saw a familiar person. Hello Hana, Naruto said, making the person jump. The girl turned around and saw Naruto. Almost as soon as she did, she rushed forward and hugged him tightly. Before Naruto was taken away by his father, Hana and her friends Anko and Kurane were assigned as his bodyguards. In the time that they guarded him, they became like the older sisters he never had. So can we get this over with? Naruto said as the two broke apart. Yes, Hana said, strip down to your underwear so we can get started. Naruto did as she said. Hana was turned around at the moment to get her clipboard so she could take the examination. When she turned around, she pulled a Hinata and turned bright red. Naruto was down to his boxers and he had developed quite a bit of muscle due to all his training. Hana looked him over. She also noticed some tattoos. Naruto had kanji for angel on his left arm, devil in kanji on his right arm, and reaper in kanji on his back. Wow, she thought, all that training really gave him some muscle. I wonder how. No. Bad Hana. Bad. She managed to hide her blush as she went through the rest of the examination. At the end, she took a picture while Naruto was still in his boxers. Naruto just shook his head, put on his clothes and walked out of the room back to the council chamber. Hana went with him so she could tell the council her examination results. Well, Koharu asked Hana so she could say the words that would destroy Naruto. Upon examination, Hana said, I have determined that Naruto is fit enough to be a ninja and that he is healthier than someone normally his age. Koharu, Homura, and a few other people inwardly growled. They had paid Hana so that she would say Naruto wasn't good enough to be a ninja. They decided to bring out the next part of their plan, the mental exam. Inoichi walked up and told Naruto to sit down. Naruto sat down and Inukai sat down in a chair across from him. Inoichi went through hand signs and said, Mind transfer jutsu. As soon as he said that, Naruto and Inukai both slumped down in their chairs. In Naruto's mind, Inoichi walked down a long wide hallway that had multiple doors. Where am I? He asked aloud. These, said a voice, would be my memories. Naruto, Inoichi asked, recognizing the voice. It was then that Naruto appeared in front of him like he wasn't even there. These doors, Naruto said, lead to my memories. This one in particular I want to show you. He pointed to a large red door. Inoichi opened it and saw the memory. The memory showed Naruto talking to the Shadame, the Nidame, and the Yandame. He listened and watched intently. Begin memory. Naruto, you know of the nine-tailed fox, right? The Yandame said. Yeah, the younger Naruto replied. Well, the Yandame said, the seal that I put on you wasn't only made to seal it but take its power. Inoichi did a double take on that one. His interest heightened as he listened to learn more. Minato continued, the seal is supposed to slowly take the fox's power and give it to you. He continued, while you've been here, however, the speed of the seal has increased. It was supposed to take 18 years to take the fox's power. How many years will it take to drain the fox's chakra now? Naruto asked, a little nervous. The seal has completed its work in 10, Minato said. As soon as he said that, Naruto fainted. End memory. Inoichi stood at the front of the door, his eyes wide. The Kyuubi was gone and Naruto had full access to its strength and chakra. Inoichi like things were going to get very interesting for the village soon. Back in the real world, the council was starting to get a little worried. It had been about 15 minutes and Inoichi was still in Naruto's mind. They were starting to wonder if Inoichi had been eaten by the fox when Inukai and Naruto both woke up with a sudden jolt. "Whew," Inoichi said, taking a breath, "what a rush." "Tell me about it," Naruto groaned. "Well," Danzo said, "what is your evaluation?" "My evaluation," Inoichi said, "is that the Uzumaki has an extraordinarily strong mind. He showed me a certain memory that I found quite interesting." "What was it?" Homura asked. "That's for us to know and you not to," Inoichi answered. Homura growled and was about to yell, but Sarutobi shut him up. "Since this is over, can I go home now?" Naruto asked, getting a nod from Sarutobi. Naruto aptly turned around and left. "I like that boy," Isom said, smiling. The next day Naruto was walking toward the academy when Sasuke stopped him again. "Dope!" he yelled. "How did you get so strong?" he asked. Naruto walked past him. The Uchiha started to seethe when Naruto said something. "You want to know the secret to true strength?" Naruto asked, turning to face him. Sasuke nodded. "My strength doesn't come from hate. To find true strength you have to find someone precious to you. You have to have a drive to protect them. Then and only then will you grow stronger." With those words Naruto left to find out his team. As he left, Sasuke, who was currently in thought. "My drive to kill my brother," he thought, "has it been my weakness instead of my strength?" He decided to think over this later and went to class for team assignments. In the class Naruto sat down next to Ino. Neither of them noticed the slight tick above Hinata's eyebrow. Shino, who was sitting next to her, noticed and promptly scooted away. Sasuke sat down in the front of the class as usual. Sakura was about to sit next to him when a piece of paper hit her in the back of the head. She picked it up and read it. "Sakura, don't sit next to Sasuke right now. I said something to him earlier and he's currently thinking about it. At least I hope he is. Give him some space for a while. Who knows, he may change after this." "Naruto." Sakura looked at Naruto and then at Sasuke, seeing was deep in thought. Apparently he couldn't get Naruto's words out of his head. He was brought out of his thought when Iruka used his big head jutsu to get everyone's attention. It was then that Kiba noticed something. "Iruka-sensei," he asked, "where's Mizuki-sensei?" "Mizuki," Iruka said, "was arrested last night for trying to steal the forbidden scroll of sealing. After Naruto failed, Mizuki tried to get the scroll himself. It ended up with Sarutobi's boot stuck in his small intestine. Doctors were able to remove it, but the old man wouldn't be able to wear that shoe again." "Okay," Iruka said, getting everyone's attention, "the teams are as follows." Naruto fell asleep until he felt Ino nudge him as Iruka reached Team 7. Team 7 will consist of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Harano. "Yes," Sakura yelled, "in your faces." Iruka leaked a little killing intent to shut Sakura up. Turns out killing intent works better than that big head thing. Anyway, Iruka continued, Team 7 will consist of Saki Uchiha, Sakura Harano, and Sai. Team 8 will consist of Kiba Inyazuka, Shino Abarame, and Hinata Hyuga. Team 9 is the same. Team 10 will consist of Shikamaru Nara, Shuji Akamaika, and Ino Yamanaka. "Iruka-sensei," Ino asked, "why isn't Naruto-kun on a team?" "Naruto-kun?" Hinata seethed mentally. "Well," Iruka said, "after the exam Naruto's skills along with other examinations revealed that he is stronger than the average genin. Therefore he has been given the title of Elite Genin and is going to be a one-man team." What, Sakura screeched, why don't you give Sasuke that title? He deserves it more than. Sakura, will you do us all a favor and shut up already? Sasuke yelled, surprising everyone. Normally the boy was quiet and didn't burst like that, but apparently Sakura hit a nerve. Naruto earned that title, Sasuke said, looking Sakura in the eyes. If you have a problem, go complain to the Hokage. He turned his attention away from the shocked girl and motioned for Iruka to continue. Well, Iruka said, finding his voice, Naruto will also have 2 teachers. You will find them at Training Ground 44. Naruto nodded, got up and walked out the door. After some time of searching, Naruto managed to find Training Ground 44. Naruto was surprised when he found that the training ground was actually a massive forest. It was surrounded by a wire fence that had a sign that said "Keep Out." Naruto's suspicions about the place were confirmed when a monstrously large centipede crawled out of a nearby tree. Naruto looked around and saw that his teachers weren't there. He thought he had been stood up when there was a large plume of smoke. Naruto squinted to keep the smoke from getting in his eyes. When he opened them, he saw something he found rather peculiar. In front of him were 2 women. The first one had purple hair that was tied up in a ponytail that made it look like it was a pineapple. She had on a fishnet shirt, a trench coat that barely covered her front, and a short orange skirt. The second also had purple hair, except hers was long and it went down her back. She wore the basic outfit for an umbu, only she didn't have an animal mask. He had to admit both of them were pretty, but he remembered that they were older than him and that he was currently dating Ino. It was then that Naruto recognized the 2 of them. They were both people who guarded him when he was little. Anko! Uejiro! Naruto cried happily. As he said their names, they both smiled. They both rushed up and hugged him. Good to see you again, Foxy, Anko said, smiling. Very good, Uejiro said, noticing the muscles. So kid, Anko said as she and her friend let Naruto go, why don't you show us what you've learned in the time you've been gone? Naruto's answer was to get into a taijutsu stance. Anko smirked as she vanished and appeared again behind Naruto and put a kunai to his neck. She was surprised when the Naruto she was holding melted away into mud. A mud clone, she thought. As she did, she felt a large amount of chakra behind her. She spun around to see Naruto going through hand signs. When he finished, he yelled, "Ice style, blizzard shuriken." The water in the air collected around Naruto, formed shuriken and froze. They were then sent flying at Anko, who managed to dodge them. She turned around to see that the shuriken had buried themselves deep in the trees that were behind them. You have an ice bloodline? Uejiro asked as she saw the ability from the other side. No, Naruto answered, but I do have an affinity with all the elements. Both girls paled. If Naruto was able to use all the elements, then there was no telling what he could do or the jutsu he could create. Naruto really was Konoha's #1 unpredictable ninja. Uejiro snapped out of the shock first and she charged at Naruto, sword drawn. Naruto spun on his heel and dodged the blade. She swung again and again, but didn't manage to land a hit. Eventually Naruto got sick of dodging and caught the sword in his fingers. Naruto held up his hand and the wind seemed to focus in his hand. After a few seconds he yelled, "Wind sword!" The winds released in a sudden gale that knocked Uejiro off her feet and sent her flying into a tree. She got up with a groan and rubbed her stomach. In case you haven't noticed, Naruto said, crossing his arms, my multiple affinities allow me to create different jutsu. Uejiro nodded. It was obvious that she and Anko, even if working together, couldn't beat him. She hated to admit it, but she was proud. Not bad, kid, Anko said as she approached the two. Come back tomorrow and we'll get our first mission. Yes ma'am, Naruto said turning around, see you two tomorrow. Anko sighed, it's good to have that kid back. Isn't it Uejo? Yeah I guess it is, Uejo answered smiling. Back in the Hokage's office the old fire shadow was doing paperwork. Darn you whoever it was who invented this, he muttered as he went over the papers. Let's see, he read, motion to execute Naruto. Denied. Motion to banish Naruto. Denied. Motion by the Inyazuka clan to adopt Naruto. He thought for a minute and was about to stamp it to approve when there was a bright flash of light. What's going on, who's there, he asked as he saw 7 figures in the light. Hey Sarutobi, the one in the middle said, man you got old. It can't be, Sarutobi thought as the light started to fade. When the light faded and he saw who the figures were, his eyes widened and then he fainted due to a heart attack. Chapter 4, Return and Mission. Clear. A jolt of electricity shot through Sarutobi's chest. The old man shot up with a start after getting said shock. He looked up to see the figures that had appeared in the light. So this is what Naruto meant by familiar faces, the old man said smiling. Good to see you, you old monkey, said one of the taller ones. Why does everyone make fun of my age, Sarutobi thought. Well, he said, I suppose I don't have to fill you in on what has happened over the years. No, said a female, you don't. Call the council, the taller one growled, we want to have a little word with them. And another thing, old man, said a third, you're the one of this village, not the council. You're the Hokage. Why don't you grow a backbone and remind them why? Sarutobi's face grew stern and his eyes narrowed. He's right, Sarutobi thought, I'm the Hokage here, not them. And it's high time I started acting like it. The council chambers a few minutes later. What do you think the old man brought us here for, some asked Shivi. I don't know, he answered, but I have a feeling that something is going to happen and soon. Troublesome if you ask me, Shikaku said in a bored tone. After they all sat down, the Hokage came in with 3 hooded figures. Sarutobi, what's the meaning of this, Homura asked. That's Lord Hokage to you, Sarutobi said, shocking his former teammates and a lot of other people. Hokage-sama, Chauza Akamika said, are you feeling alright? Just fine, Chauza, the old man answered, I think it's high time that I started acting like a cage. The civilian council, along with Homura, Koharu, and Danzo, started to get worried. If the old man actually grew a backbone and had all his power back, then their plans to get Naruto would be flushed down the toilet. Good to see you're getting bold, Sarutobi, Inoichi said, but why did you call this meeting? Ah yes, the old fire shadow smiled, remembering why he had called this meeting. It seems that these 3 gentlemen have a few things to say to you. What would that be? Danzo asked from his seat. That will be later explained, Sarutobi said, but first there's a subject I have been itching to get out. The removal of Danzo from the council. Danzo paled under his bandages. Though after a few seconds he grinned under them. And on what grounds do you think you can take me off? He asked, getting a smirk from the old man. This. Sarutobi handed a folder to Hayashi, who promptly read it and scowled. This, Hayashi growled, is plans to take some of our stronger ninja and turn them into weapons in the supposedly disbanded Root program. All of the clan heads glared at Danzo. I second the motion, Isom growled. Many others actually went along with this. It was official that Danzo was off the council. Danzo of course refused to leave. He did until one of the hooded men lifted him up off the ground and threw him out the door. Nice, Chauza said, giving him a thumbs up. The man just nodded at him and walked back to his place. So what is it you have to say, Rose Harano? Asked the three gentlemen. Simple, said the first. Oh, and before we say this, it's mostly directed at the civilian council. He cleared his throat. What the heck is wrong with you people? The force of his voice alone caused the hair of the people in front of him to blow back. For years you've tried to hurt a child because of something that he had no control over, he continued. The second one said, Kami, if I had known that some of the people in this village were complete and utter morons, I wouldn't have tried to protect it. The same goes for the two of us, the third said, gesturing to himself and the first one who spoke. What are you talking about? Asked a fat civilian. We're talking about the so-called demon of Konoha, Naruto Uzumaki, the third one said, crossing his arms. So, said the same fat councilman, we had to teach that demon a lesson. We had to show him that we were in control so he wouldn't get any ideas. As soon as he finished that sentence, a large amount of killing intent filled the room. All of it radiating from the hooded men. The civilian council could feel their stares burning into their foreheads. Hokage-sama, the second one asked, looking at him. Sarutobi nodded and the man rushed forward and lifted the man into the air. Put me down. The fat man yelled, you will pay for this. Unlikely, the man said as he drew back his arm. Energy suddenly focused and formed a spinning ball of chakra. He shoved his arm forward and yelled, raise non. The result was the ball of chakra boring through the man's chest and destroying his heart. It's not possible, Harano stuttered. The man reached up and removed his hood, revealing a man with tan skin and spiky blonde hair. Minato Namikaze had returned. The other two took up their hoods and the council almost fainted from shock. The first had darker skin and long black hair. The other one had pale skin and gray hair. The first and second Kages, Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju, were back as well. Oh boy, most of the civilian council thought. Minato backed down and joined his friends. We tell you this, no, Minato said sternly, if any of you try to hurt Naruto again, you'll deal with us personally. And we'll show you why we each became a Hokage. With that threat the three left. The civilian council was currently in shock and in a stupor. We are screwed, came the voice of Shikaku Nara, breaking the silence. 3 weeks later. White Fox in position. Naruto said into a comm on his ear. Crazy Snake in position, and I'm gonna get you for that codename, kid. Came the voice of Anko. Black Cat in position, came the voice of Uejiro. The three took a stance to get ready to launch themselves and got ready, then all at once they jumped out. Meow. Ribbon on the left ear, Anko said, looking at the cat they got. It's Tora, all right. Come here, girl, Naruto said to the cat, tenderly picking her up and gently scratching her behind the ears. Tora, the pet of the fire daimyo's wife and so-called demon cat, purred loudly as Naruto petted her. Naruto didn't really like cats, but it calmed her and it beat having the cat try to scratch his eyes out like it did all the others. A few minutes later at the Hokage Tower. Oh Tora, the fire daimyo's wife cried, I missed you so much. Don't ever run away again. All the while she was crushing the cat in a death hug that had Naruto wincing. Even though Anko and Uejiro didn't like having to catch that cat, they couldn't help but feel sorry for it. No wonder that cat always runs away, they all thought at the same time. Ma'am, Naruto said, approaching the woman, I think I know how to keep Tora from running away so much. Really, she asked, do tell. It's simple, Naruto said, don't squeeze her to death every time you pick her up. Needless to say, the cat never bothered anyone again. On that day Naruto became known as the ninja who stopped the demon cat. After they had gotten the pay for the mission, Naruto, Anko, and Uejiro went to the Hokage's office. Mission complete, old man, Naruto said as he walked in. Good thing too, Sarutobi said, because I have another mission for you. The old man took out a folder and handed it to Naruto. Yesterday, the old man explained, a team of ninja were assigned the task of escorting a bridge builder named Tajuna back to his hometown in Wave Country. What's the problem then? Anko asked. The mission was strictly C-ranked, however, Tajuna kept information from us. It turns out his village is run by a crime boss named Gato. Gato sent out the legendary demon brother, Gozu, and me Izu. After the encounter the mission rank was bumped up to B ranked. And you want us to go and give the team back up, Naruto finished for the old man. Exactly, the old man said, depart as soon as you are able. Yes sir, they all said as they turned around and left. Since when did you start showing respect to the old man? Anko Naruto asked looking at his sister as they left the tower. The last time I didn't. He did something very bad to me, Anko said with a little shiver. He took away her dango didn't he? He asked Uejiro. The only answer she got was a stifled laugh. Naruto went home and said goodbye to his mom and dad, and gave Ino, who was waiting there for him, a kiss goodbye. As of a few days ago they had started dating. Ino was the one who broke the news to Hinata, who tried to kill Ino. Luckily Kurane managed to stop her. In the end Hinata calmed down and accepted that her crush was taken. After the incident with Hinata, Naruto and his team left the village for their mission. Anko summoned some snakes for them to ride so they could get to Wave Country fast. After an hour of riding and another one of the snakes going through the water, Naruto, Anko, and Uejiro all arrived at the Hidden Mist village. The village looked like it had gone through heck. A lot of people were thin and the stores barely had anything. Naruto felt his blood boil slightly as he saw kids begging on the street. Hey, an old woman said walking up to him, are you three from that ninja village? Yeah, Naruto answered, why? Well, it's just that some other folks came back with Tajuna from your village, the old woman said. What did they look like? Anko asked, wondering who exactly it was they would be helping. Well, the old lady thought, there was this guy with silver hair, a mask, and he had his headband over his eye. Kakashi, Anko growled. He was with three young ones. The first was a dark moody boy. The second was a pink-haired girl that seemed more interested in him. And finally there was a blonde boy who didn't really seem to have any emotions. Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai, Naruto said, remembering the names of the students and their appearances. If it is them, Anko said, then they really do need our help. Do you know where Tajuna lives? Naruto asked her. Yes I do, Sonny, she said. She turned around and pointed at a hill. He lives in that house up there. Thanks, Naruto said. With a destination in mind the three made their way to the house. Once they arrived Naruto knocked on the door. It was answered by a woman with long black hair. After seeing that they had leaf headbands on she gladly let them in. Naruto walked in to find the three genin at the table waiting for dinner. Hey guys, Naruto said, getting their attention. Naruto, Sasuke said with a grin, I take it the Hokage sent you in as backup. That he did, Anko said, making her presence known to the genin. They noticed her along with the purple-haired swordswoman. Sasuke and Sakura both paled. They both had heard of Anko since she had a reputation in the village for being crazy and for sending snakes after perverts. They didn't know Uejiro, but they had a feeling that she was no pushover. She had an aura of authority about her which made them sweat. Sai, however, had no emotion on his face. Though behind that he was secretly nervous. He had seen what Naruto can do when he isn't trying and he didn't want to see what he was like angry. So, Anko said, breaking the silence. What's happened so far? Well, Suzuki said, Tajuna lied to us about the mission rank, but only because he couldn't pay for a higher mission. It was bumped up to a B rank mission after our encounter with the Demon Brothers. Unfortunately, we encounter a man named Zabuza Mamakai, an A ranked nuke nin, so now a mission has gone up to an A ranked. A ranked or not, Sakura said, Suzuki will beat anyone who gets in his way. Anko and Uejo both sweat dropped. If this girl was a fangirl, then they would have to break her of that, otherwise she would get killed. Anyway, Suzuki continued, Kakashi-sensei lost consciousness after the fight with Zabuza. Zabuza was taken away by a hunter nin, so we don't have to worry about him. Naruto wasn't so sure. If it really was a hunter nin, then he would have disposed of the body on site, not taken it off somewhere. The whole thing stunk and none of them knew it. A few hours later, everyone sat down for dinner. They were joined by a young boy who by some people's guess was Tsunami's son. The boy was quiet for most of the meal. I'm going to my room, he said as he got up and started to leave. Who wants pie? Tsunami asked as she came back from the kitchen. Right after pie. After eating dessert, which everyone had to admit was delicious, the boy got up and left. What's his problem? Anko asked after he left. His eyes, Naruto said, getting everyone to look at him, they showed pure sorrow. What happened to him? Inari's dad, Tsunami said, was considered a hero around here. He was one of the only people to stand up to Gato. Let me guess, Suzuki said, he didn't really like that. No, Tajuna said, when Gato found out, he had him publicly executed right in front of everyone. Ever since then Inari has been in a slump. He acts like there isn't any hope in the world. Naruto hung his head. This kid thought he was hurt when he didn't even know what the meaning of pain ever was. Naruto knew he had to fix that, but what he didn't know was how. Chapter 5, Training and Swords. The next day Kakashi woke up from his little nap. He then told them that the Zabuza was still alive. When asked why, he explained that the weapon that the hunter nin used were throwing needles. They were exactly used for killing, but good for sending someone into a death-like state. Now, Team 7 was nervous. If he was still alive, then they would have to fight him again along with that mysterious hunter nin. Kakashi decided then and there that he would give all of them special training. After breakfast they all went to the forest and stood before some trees. Kakashi was walking on crutches since he wasn't 100% yet. Okay, the copy ninja said, for the exercise you will have to climb trees. But Kakashi-sensei, Sakura said, we already know how to climb trees. Yes Sakura, Kakashi said, but climb them without using your hands. How are we supposed to do that? Suzuki asked. Kakashi demonstrated by focusing chakra into his feet and walked up the side of the tree. To do this, he explained, focus chakra into your feet and walk up. Doing this will theoretically enhance your chakra control and give you the ability to perform jutsu. But we already know how to do jutsu, complained Sakura. Yes, Anko intervened, but you don't know how to do it correctly. You use too much when you focus. This should help you with that problem, brat. Sakura was about to retort when a cold gaze from Kakashi shut her up. Kakashi took out 3 kunao and threw them at his students. They landed at their feet. Use these to mark your progress, he said as he stepped back a few steps. Team 7 each picked up a few kunao and ran at the tree. Suzuki's foot formed a crater in the trunk and Sai wasn't really trying hard. Since he was raised by Danzo, he got a lot of training, so he already knew how to do this. He was just trying to play the fool. Sakura managed to get to the top first when she noticed something. Hey Naruto, she called, Why aren't you doing the exercise? Because I already know how to do it, Naruto answered. Yeah right, Sakura said, if Sasuke's having trouble then there is no way you. She was cut off by the sound of a throat being cleared. She looked to see Naruto walking on water. Her eyes were wide as saucers. How are you doing that? She asked. I mastered the tree walking and I'm working on the water walking exercise, he explained. Sasuke was currently looking with not hint of surprise on his face. He knew Naruto had trained for years, so it was obvious that he had gone through this. How are you able to do that when Sasuke can't? She asked. You obviously got it off him. You. Shut up, Sakura. Sasuke yelled. Sasuke got up, walked over to Sakura, grabbed her by the hem of her shirt and dragged her away. Sakura, Sasuke growled, I'm only going to say this once. Mind your own business. He was speaking in a tone that sent a shiver down Sakura's spine, and not in the good way. Naruto, Sasuke continued, has been training for years, so it's obvious that he's ahead of us and me. I know you're trying to defend my honor, but you're just being a pain so far. So just shut your mouth and leave him be. Sasuke let go of Sakura and walked back to his tree. Sakura was currently in thought at what her crush had said. She thought for a few minutes and continued to climb the tree. After a few hours everyone was back at the house. Sasuke and Sakura were exhausted and Sai was pretending to be. After they arrived, Sai pulled Naruto to the side. What is it? Naruto asked him. I have to tell you something, said Sai. I was originally put on this team by my father Danzo. Naruto bristled. Even though Danzo wasn't on the council, he was still a threat because of his root Umbu. I was sent to spy on the Uchiha, Sai continued, to see if I could persuade him to join Danzo. Why are you telling me this? Naruto asked as he started to wonder why this guy would share such information with him. Danzo says that his plans are for the better of Konoha, Sai said, but I see that it is only for his personal gain. I swore on my career as a ninja that I would work with the Hokage, and to do this I must work with those who are allied with him. Naruto nodded. It looks like Danzo just lost his secret weapon and his chance to spy on Naruto. Good to have you as an ally, my friend, Naruto said, holding out his hand. Sai, who wasn't really that good at socializing due to Danzo's training, hesitantly held out his hand and shook Naruto's. With their meeting done, Naruto and Sai went down to the dinner table. Inari was with them again and as usual was eating quietly until he decided to voice his opinion. Why do you try so hard? He asked. The Konoha ninja looked at him. Why do you keep trying? He asked again. You think that you can go against Gato? He'll kill you. We aren't from here, kid, Naruto said, taking a bite of his dinner, so he doesn't know what we can do. Plus, kid, you don't know the meaning of pain. What do you mean I don't know the meaning of pain? Inari half asked, half yelled. My entire life has been suffering. You and your friends come in here without a scratch on you. You all probably lead a cushy life back home, so why don't you just leave? Inari. Tsunami yelled. Naruto had had enough of this kid. He got up and lifted the boy off the ground, much to the surprise of everyone in the room. Kid, Naruto growled, some of have had nice lives but not all of us. Sasuke was forced to watch as his entire clan was murdered right in front of his eyes, and Kakashi-sensei has lost just about everyone who was precious to him. Naruto took a breath, since he didn't stop to breath while he said this. While he did, Inari looked at the two and they both nodded, confirming what Naruto had said was true. Also, he said, Anko-nichan was betrayed by the person she trusted most, and now she's regarded as a traitor in the village. And if you think that's rough, I was hated by almost everyone in the village. My parents were gone and almost every day I was beaten with an inch of my life, even more on my birthday. So when you think you have it rough, remember that there's someone who always has it worse. Naruto unceremoniously dropped Inari on his butt and walked out. Naruto, where are you going? Anko asked as he headed for the door. To blow off some steam, was Naruto's answer as he walked out the door and slammed it behind him. Is what he said true? Tsunami asked. There's no way that could happen, Sakura said, he was probably just making it all up. No, Sakura. What Naruto said was true, Kakashi said. When Naruto was younger he was hated by most of the village except for a select few. While I was on Umbu I was one of the many assigned to guard him. I stopped a lot of bad things from happening to him. I just wish I had done a better job. Or at least adopted him, then he wouldn't have been alone the entire time. I witnessed one of those beatings too, Sasuke said, surprising everyone. While I did, my father told me that I was never to go near him. Wanting to prove myself, I never did. Sasuke sounded disappointed at that part. Tsunami was silently sobbing while Inari was freely letting tears run down his cheeks. Tajuna had a few tears too, but he also looked angry. How can anyone do that to a kid? He growled, it's disgusting. Sakura was thinking about it. She remembered what her mother had said about Naruto being a monster. She also remembered how she treated him and felt tears coming to her eyes. He had already been suffering and she had just made it worse. When he got back she made a mental note to apologize. Meanwhile, a raven-haired girl was currently walking through the forest. She was gathering herbs so she could heal a friend of hers. While she was searching for them she noticed a tree had been broken in half. She noticed that it wasn't the only one. It looked like some wild beast had gone insane and had torn the forest up. There were huge craters in trees and ground. Despite her better judgment she followed the carnage and found a blond boy panting. She could tell by common sense that this guy had something to do with the carnage she had seen. Slowly she walked toward him so she could figure out what had happened when he suddenly collapsed in exhaustion. And Naruto may be powerful, but even he is not above sleep. She knew she had to go back to help her friend but decided to stay and see if this guy needed any help. After about an hour the sun rose up and the boy started to wake up. Hey, the girl said, nudging Naruto's shoulder. Naruto groaned as he got up. As he turned around to face her she saw the Kokonoha headband on his forehead. Uh-oh, she thought, but didn't show the worry on her face. Are you alright? She asked, trying to sound like she wasn't an enemy. Yeah, he said, I just came to blow off some steam and I guess I kind of overdid it. Naruto looked at the girl and had to admit she was cute, but he was with Ino and he didn't want to get her angry, so he just left well enough alone. Naruto, they both heard someone say and turned to see Sasuke a few feet from them. Haku blushed at the sight of the boy. Naruto chuckled to himself at the sight of her blushing. I hope she doesn't run into Sakura, Naruto thought. Anyway, Sasuke said, not noticing her blush, it's time to head back. You've been out here all night. Naruto shrugged and got up. He left the girl behind who was busy thinking. She thought that Sasuke was cute, but he was from Konoha and she would end up having to kill him. She hung her head and hoped that it wouldn't come to that. Later, at a hidden location. Haku, said a man with a mask over his mouth, lying in a bed with bandages, how was your trip? It was fine, she answered, I met someone today. One of the boys from the Konoha team. He didn't recognize me, but I think we may have a problem. What would that be? He asked as Haku started to apply the herbs to help him. They seem to have brought a new team in, she answered. I only saw one of them, but he was able to tear up a good portion of a forest with his bare hands. The man, Zabuza, if you hadn't guessed yet, was surprised. If one person like that was able to tear apart a forest with his own hands, he didn't want to see what this guy could do if he was mad. Zabuza however knew that when he healed he would able to take out the copy ninja that did this to him, and then he would deal with this supposedly strong warrior. Tomorrow, he thought, tomorrow. The next day at Tajuna's house. I can't believe this guy, Sakura said, being able to train through the night like that. What exactly is he? Naruto probably built a lot of stamina during his training outside the village, Kakashi said. I wonder how he would fare against Zabuza. It would probably be a close fight, Sasuke said, surprising a lot of people. Kakashi however wasn't. During the test to see if he could work with a team, he did remarkably well with teamwork. He remembered a conversation that they had afterwards. Flashback. Sasuke, Kakashi said, getting his pupil's attention, your file said that you mostly did things alone. You didn't during the test. Can you explain the sudden change? Well, Sasuke said, I met someone who told me that the secret to strength is finding someone to protect. That drive lets you become stronger. I'm looking to see if I can find that person. Kakashi smiled slightly under his mask. Sasuke's original drive was for power, now it was to protect. Whoever said that to him was very wise. Okay, Kakashi said, I just wanted to get that cleared up. And flashback. Why do you think it would be close? Sai asked, wanting to know the reason behind Sasuke's answer. When Naruto and me fought, I barely saw any of his strength, he explained. I haven't seen his real power, but I could tell that he is incredibly powerful. The others were all silent. They all looked at the form of the sleeping blonde who had collapsed in exhaustion almost as soon as he entered the house. They had decided to let him sleep while they went to guard Tajuna at the bridge. Anko and Uejiro both left quietly with the teams to let their little brother sleep. Meanwhile outside, two men were watching the house and saw the ninja leave. Ready? One asked. Ready, said the other as they made their way to the house. At the bridge Tajuna the ninja were met with a ghastly sight. The workers who had been working on the bridge were all dead and it was covered in a thick mist. My men! Tajuna yelled as he saw the bodies of his workers. What happened here? That would be me, old man, said a familiar voice. Zabuza, Kakashi growled, I had a feeling we would run into you again. Yes, the swordsman said, but this time I'm not alone. Out of the mist walked someone with a green battle kimono and a mask. It was the mysterious hunter Nin, aka Haku, for those of you who don't watch the show or read the manga. Sakura, Sasuke-sai. Kakashi yelled, you three guard Tajuna, the rest of us will take on Zabuza. Back at the house, Naruto was just waking up from his little nap. He was wondering where he was when he remembered he had collapsed when he got back from his training. He got up and was about to leave when heard something downstairs. Get away from my mom. He immediately recognized the voice as Inari and immediately ran down the stairs to see Inari on the ground and Tsunami being held back by two swordsmen. Back off, Brad, the first one said, we were just sent to get the girl to use as a bargaining chip. Naruto heard that and decided to intervene. Back off the lady boys, Naruto said, making his presence known. The people in the room looked to see Naruto standing in the doorway to the hall. Tsunami blushed slightly because he didn't have his coat on so she could see the muscles on his arms. Yeah right, the second one laughed, and if we don't... He would have laughed again if Naruto hadn't suddenly appeared in front of him and slammed his fist into his face. There was a loud crack as a lot of the man's teeth and his nose were broken. His injuries got worse when he was sent flying with another crack as he hit the wall. The fist swordsman tried to get Naruto from behind with his sword, but Naruto easily ducked it and swung out his foot. It connected with the one place that nobody deserves to be struck. He doubled over in pain and Naruto brought his fist down on his skull, effectively knocking him out. Inari, Naruto said, your father would be proud. Inari smiled proudly as Naruto left to go help his friends on the bridge. On said bridge things were not going well. Kakashi, Uegaoka, and Anko were in trouble because Kakashi's Sharingan didn't work, the mist blocked his sight, and because Zabuza had his eyes closed he couldn't hypnotize him. Anko and Uegaoka couldn't see with the mist, so they were dead. Meanwhile Sakura was the only one guarding Tajuna, and Sai and Sasuke were strapped in a dome of ice mirrors made by Haku. Thought it pained her she had to fight Sasuke. Sai was barely standing up and Sasuke was unconscious. Haku was about to move when there was a large plume of smoke, and when it cleared it revealed Naruto a few feet away, but that wasn't what got everyone's attention. What got their attention was what he had. In his right hand he held a large golden sword. The handle was about 2 feet long and the blade was at least 4 feet long. The sword stood as tall as Naruto did. The blade was long and had a holy glow to it. I can't really think of a way to describe it, so think the Armageddon blade from Darksiders. If you can't imagine that, then look it up on YouTube. Am I late for the party? Naruto asked with a smirk. Chapter 6 Endwave Mission. Everyone was currently staring at Naruto. He had just appeared out of nowhere and he was holding a sword of the likes none of them had ever seen. Sasuke was looking at the sword wondering where Naruto got it. Sakura was wondering if Naruto had more than one. The rest of them were just staring at it wondering where the heck a sword like that was made. So, Zabuza said after a few minutes of silence, I guess you're the last of these brats that was sent for backup. Yeah, Naruto said, setting the sword on his shoulder. I am. Zabuza surveyed his opponent with interest in his eye. Though he was a kid he looked like stern stuff. When he looked in Naruto's eyes he saw the last thing he expected to see. Experience. This kid had probably fought and killed before. He saw a calm warrior who could probably take on an army. And survive. A fellow swordsman, Zabuza said as he finished his examination. Yeah, Naruto said, I've been training with his thing for years. Oh really? Zabuza asked, not believing him. Then he got an idea. Listen kid, how about we make a deal? What would that be? We fight, Zabuza said, 1-on-1. The loser dies. Zabuza smiled behind his mask as he knew from what he saw that this kid wouldn't be easy to beat and would probably be a real challenge. Naruto, don't do it, Sakura yelled. He's an A-ranked criminal, Kakashi continued, he'll rip you apart. Let's play old man, Naruto said, getting into a Kenjutsu stance. Zabuza did the same. All of the others spoke out against Naruto fighting except Anko and Uegaoka. They both knew what he could do, so they weren't really worried. Then the two swordsmen vanished. They were all drawn by the sudden sound of clashing steel. They turned to see the two fighting each other. Their swords clashed with loud clangs each time. They vanished again and multiple clangs were heard as they reappeared again a few feet away from them. Not bad kid, Zabuza said, if I could I'd try to get you to become the 8 legendary swordsmen. Thanks, Naruto panted, but I think I'll stick with my village. Sorry. Zabuza smiled under his mask. He didn't know that a kid would be able to push him to his limit. What he didn't know was that Naruto was only pretending to be at his level. Naruto currently had his full power sealed up, but it could be released at a moment of his choosing. He, however, was saving his real power for the people he knew had to die. The two charged at each other again and Zabuza got knocked back. As of now he was tired of fooling around kid. Water style, water clone, Zabuza said calmly as he went through hand signs. 6 water clones materialized out of the water around them. All of them charged at Naruto, but they didn't get much done. As soon as they charged, Naruto vanished and the clones all burst into water. Zabuza was starting to get nervous now. "You're pretty good, kiddo," Zabuza said, "but you're going to need more strength if you're going to beat me." Zabuza went through hand signs. Naruto noticed and started to do the same. Water style, water dragon. Ice style, white tiger. A large water dragon formed behind Zabuza and shot forward in an insane burst of speed. Water formed a large tiger behind Naruto, but a frozen wind came and froze it, forming a large ice tiger. It charged forward and met the dragon, freezing it solid. Naruto rushed forward and punched the dragon, shattering it like glass and sending ice shards at the mist demon. Zabuza dodged them and landed a few feet away. "So you have an ice bloodline," Zabuza said, slightly shocked at the move the kid used. "No," Naruto answered, "but I do have an affinity for every element." Zabuza paled behind his mask. If this kid could use every element as a weapon, there was not telling all the tricks this kid had up his sleeve. The rest of the Konoha ninja were all in shock as well. A lot were wondering how Naruto was able to get so much power. Sasuke normally would have been jealous, but he knew that fighting Naruto would more than like end up with him dying. And, good thing Naruto talked some sense into this guy, otherwise he would have died much sooner than normal. Naruto charged at Zabuza again and nearly got him if the swordsman hadn't blocked it with his sword. The two exchanged more blows and Naruto was starting to get a little bit bored. He decided it was time to end this. He jumped back a good 3 feet and his sword started to glow with blue chakra. Then he ran forward and jumped in the air. He brought his sword down in an arc and yelled, "Uzumaki style, sword breaker." The move actually held true to its name. Almost as soon as the two swords met, Zabuza's broke to pieces. The hardened steel shattered like glass and sent the swordsman to the ground. "How did my sword break?" Zabuza thought. It was well tempered and made of the strongest ores available. "What is that sword of his made of?" "Your time has come, Zabuza Mamakai," Naruto said, bringing his sword up. He would have brought it down if Haku hadn't gotten in the way. "Move, Haku," Naruto said, "I have to do this." "No," she said defiantly, "I don't care how strong you are. I won't let you harm Zabuza-sama." "Well, isn't this touching?" someone new said. Everyone turned around to see a short old man with sunglasses, a tux, and a cane. Behind him were a lot of mercenaries. "Gato," Zabuza growled. "The demon of the mist," the old man laughed, "taken down by a little kid, how disappointing." "Well, it looks like our contract is null and void, Zabuza, but don't worry, I'll take good care of your girl." Almost as soon as Sasuke heard that about Haku, he growled. He couldn't understand it, but he had a sudden drive and urge to protect her. As he got up, the others looked and they couldn't believe what they saw. Sasuke's eyes had turned red and had one comma in each eye. Sasuke had awakened. His Sharingan. Naruto also felt anger building up in him. Luckily, one of the lessons his mother had taught him was to keep his anger under control. It was also how he managed to calm down over the years. "Gato," Naruto growled, raising his sword, "time to meet your end." Gato smirked and turned to his men. "Kill them all," he ordered, "but leave the women, they'll be fun to break." The mercenaries all ran at the group. The Konoha ninja all looked ready to fight until a strong wave of killing intent washed over the whole place. Everyone saw that the source of the killing intent was Naruto. "Gato," he said in a strong, powerful voice, "you have brought much pain to this place and now you will pay for that." Naruto raised the golden sword and pointed the blade downwards and had the side of the blade facing them. Judgment! He yelled. There was a flash of white chakra that covered Naruto and formed large white wings. Everyone stared at the chakra's beauty. I have judged your souls, Naruto said as he opened his eyes, guilty. Naruto drew the sword back and it glowed pure white and he swung it yelling, holy execution. The swing of the blade sent out a wave of white chakra that went through the mercenaries and turned them to dust as they screamed. It went all the way across the bridge and destroyed Gato, who screamed as he was torn apart. His task done, Naruto turned to face Zabuza and Haku. It was then that Zabuza did something that no one had expected him to do. Please, he said, getting down on his knees bowing, absolve me of my sins, agent of Kami. What sins would those be? Naruto asked. I have killed many people, Zabuza said. I have committed murder and slain the innocent. I wish to seek repentance. Idiot, said a small voice. Zabuza opened his eyes to see a little girl. She had her red hair in pigtails and green eyes. She was also transparent, meaning she was a ghost. You're not a bad guy, she said. You didn't kill me when that mean man told you to, but I died anyway. Stop beating yourself up, Mr. No Eyebrows. The little girl smiled before she vanished. Zabuza got up and smiled under his mask. Looks like we aren't enemies, Kakashi, the swordsman said, extending his hand, which the Cyclops promptly shook. Hey Zabuza, Naruto said, walking up behind him, what are you going to do now? I don't really know, Zabuza said, shaking his head. I'm not sure if I can keep on running now that I'm out of the mercenary business. Why don't you come with us to the village? Naruto asked, surprising a few people. The only Kenjutsu specialist we have is deathly sick and a new bloodline would be really helpful to the village, Naruto explained. You're not serious, are you? Naruto Sakura said, making her presence known. They both attacked us and should be. Sakura. Sasuke growled as he got up with help from Haku. The mission is pretty much over and they aren't our enemies anymore. They have given up and are no our allies. But she hurt you, Sakura said, trying to get Sasuke to see her way. She could have killed you. But she didn't, Naruto said. She didn't kill him, and I think I know why. You do? Zabuza asked. I do, Naruto said. I think she likes him. Zabuza was silent, then laughed. He laughed until he looked at Haku. He saw that she was looking fondly at the boy with a slight blush on her face. Zabuza smiled under his mask as he saw the display. Well, he said after a few moments of silence, I guess we have a reason to go with you to the village. Sakura was glaring at Haku and then she shot forward. Get away from Sasuke-kun. He's mine. She yelled, trying to get her for looking at him. She was barely a few feet from the when slap. Sakura was sent reeling from the blow. She got up with a low groan of pain. When she looked up, her eyes widened. Haku stood above her. Her eyes filled with annoyance and a slight anger. How dare you, she growled. How dare you try and claim something you have no right to try and take? Yes, I can claim him, Sakura said as she got up. I love him. He loves me. We were meant to be together and he will be mine. Not yours, you little slut. There was a strong silence and then the air around them froze. Everyone took a huge step back, even Naruto, at the large amount of killing intent coming off of Zabuza and Sasuke. Sakura, however, she was standing still with a look of horror in her eyes. Her knees buckled and she fell to the ground. At the sudden pressure. Don't you ever, Zabuza growled, ever refer to my daughter like that. Sakura, Sasuke said, I have tried to stay patient with you and now it has reached its end. He picked Sakura up by the front of her shirt. Listen here, you pink-haired nuisance. I don't love you. I never have, and right now I don't think I will. All you've done is fawn over me and get in the way. Wake up and start taking this seriously and find someone who actually will like you. He let her down and walked away with Haku. Sakura felt something and turned around. Almost everyone was looking at her with disdain, even her own sensei. As she sat there, she thought back. She remembered how she always fawned over Sasuke, how she had idolized him. How she had tried to stay thin for him. Then she remembered how he always rejected her. How he ignored her. And how she was always weak and she could barely do the simplest of ninja tricks. She held her head in shame. Meanwhile, Naruto smiled. It seems that things were starting to turn for the better. Sasuke wasn't as arrogant as before and Sakura seemed to be considering his words. He grinned as he left. There may be hope for her yet, he thought. 1 week later. Do you really have to go, brother? Inari whined as Naruto and his friends got ready to leave. Naruto chuckled inwardly at the antics shown by his so-called little brother. In the week that had passed, the Hidden Mist village had progressed greatly. The bridge was finished and the town was coming back to life. They also saw Naruto as a hero. A lot of girls tried to get Naruto to date them, but they all ended with them getting rejected and Naruto saying that he was in love with someone already. The teams had also changed. Sasuke and Haku were no one item. It took a lot of convincing on Zabuza's part. After an hour of asking and Haku giving him the puppy dog eyes, he said yes. Sakura had been quiet the first few days, but she had finally given up her pursuit of Sasuke. She also got the chance to apologize to Naruto for what she had said and how she had treated him. Naruto wholeheartedly accepted. Sorry kid, Naruto said, but I have to go back to my village. Well, Inari said, you can come visit us, can't you? I can, Naruto said grinning, and I'm pretty sure I will. He leaned down and put a hand on Inari's head. Take care of your mom and the old man, Naruto said, especially the old man if he keeps drinking that stuff in the jug. Inari laughed to himself as Naruto and friends turned and left. So grandpa, Inari said turning to his grandfather, what are we going to name the bridge? How about the Super Tajuna Bridge, he asked. Almost as soon as he said that, he was hit over the head with a rock and a shoe that someone had thrown at him. Among other things. All right, Tajuna yelled, getting the thrown objects to stop. Since that name is clearly out of the question, how about the Great Naruto Bridge? That name got cheers from a lot of people. All right, Tajuna said, we name it after the hero of our village. I say we call it the Super Erotic Hot Springs that lets old men bring cameras, said an old man with white hair sitting on a toad. Who's with me? There were cries of no. No gonna happen, and pervert. All of which were followed by loud girlish screams as the man was beaten within an inch of his life. With Naruto and the group, Anko started laughing. What's so funny, Anko? Kakashi asked. He was not reading his orange book because he knew that both Anko and Uejiro would kill him. I just got the feeling that a pervert is getting a harsh beating, was her answer. Naruto smiled to himself as he knew who it was.